My name's John Ryan, Jr. I'm the Chief Lifeguard for the town of East Hampton. I've been involved in the community since I turned 16 years of age when I became an East Hampton Town Lifeguard. Been lifeguarding for 42 years. We have about 100 lifeguards that work for the town of East Hampton. Some are just simply instructors in our junior program, but many of them sit the stands and work the beaches, making rescues each and every day. We are looking at servicing over 400 kids in our junior lifeguard program, NIPA program. My father used the term waterproofing, and it fits. That's what we're trying to do to this community. That program is a feeder program for our lifeguard cadet program, which is the 15-year-olds. As soon as they turn 16, they can become ocean lifeguards. We were told that, look, you might have a hard time with your junior lifeguard program. And I said, that's going to be a problem. I get it. The pandemic is important, and it's an important safety issue, all right? But in the same sense, that's not going to stop people from going to the beach. And how are we going to open up our season for, one, qualifying all these juniors, because they can't just join the program because they want to. They have to qualify for it. You have to understand, at the time we were doing this, all the restaurants and the hotels were being impacted. The state and the county were looking at what was happening immediately, not 6 months down the line. We assembled a committee to discuss what we were going to need to do well in advance of the beaches opening. The old method of training and certifying lifeguards was not the test we could use for the time of COVID. There's 3 rescues for the test, and all 3 of those types of rescues required them to be in contact. At times you had to carry somebody up on your back or double arm drag. You are making direct contact with that individual. During COVID, you couldn't. You had to maintain distancing. So we had to change our whole testing procedure, and that had to be approved by the state and the county. When we made individual rescues, the individual rescues were with rescue cans. The red buoy that is harnessed, the lifeguard puts it on and swims out to the victim, gives the victim the can, assures them they're going to be okay, and then turns around and swims in with the victim holding onto the can. That was your 6 feet separation. All right, when they got in, they would make sure that they were holding onto one side of the can, assuring the victim to stand up. We got to move now. We got to get out of the surf area in the near shore zone. We move up and we run up the beach. All right, that was the first rescue we did with each of our trainees. The second rescue was a line rescue, where they swam out a line and they handed the victim the line. They'd give a signal to the lifeguard on the inside that fed the line out, and that lifeguard would then pull that team in. When the Stillwater certification, they would paddle the board out to the victim, keep the board between themselves and the victim, instruct the victim to get on the board if they had to, and the victim was unconscious, then they would put the victim on the board, and then they would paddle the victim in, trying to keep that, again, that 6 feet separation. Those guidelines of 6 feet, rescue can rescue, those are guidelines. If you feel you have to put your hands on an individual, then you're going to have to put your hands on that individual. Safety is the most important aspect of making a rescue. And if you think that it's safer for you to cross-chest that individual in, then you're going to have to make that choice. We didn't say that this is the only way of making the rescue, but there was that confusion because these were the methods that we were teaching that year with the line and the rescue can. We had entrances at the top of the beach, and we had exits at the top of the beach. So when people were coming up, lifeguard's head had to be on a swivel, paying attention to people coming up from behind him or coming onto the beach, and just saying, look, excuse me, you got to go to the exit over there, or you can come on through here. Unfortunately, we got to a point where one individual, we had to call the Marine Patrol, PD, for assistance because of an unruly beach patron. The guard simply said, excuse me, sir, if you're going up to the bathroom, you need to wear a mask. And this is a 17-year-old lifeguard and probably a 20-something-year-old gentleman who got right up in his face very aggressively and told him, I kicked the shit out of you, pardon my speech, but you know, you have no idea, you have no right to tell me. And he didn't, look, sir, I'm just doing my job kind of thing. So it became difficult at times with lifeguards who were always trying to be positive to the beach patrons, to have to deal with that kind of a demeanor. It was hard in the beginning of the summer. There were no ball sports allowed on East Hampton town beaches. I remember driving down the beach and seeing a woman and her 2-year-old kid as I drive up, and they were playing with a ball. And these were the guidelines. And again, I agreed with them or disagreed with them. It wasn't me. It was a policy that the town was set, and I had to say to this woman, I'm sorry, I wish I could not have to say this, but you can't. We have no ball sports on the beach. And the little kid looked up at me in awe, looking at the truck and the jet ski on the back, and he just big-eyed, and he looks at me and says, "Can we play Frisbee?" And I said, oh, I gotta have to go to church after this one. I'm sorry, buddy. I can't let you play Frisbee either, but you can have a great day at the beach, digging a hole, building a sandcastle, you know. But it was very difficult. That mother playing ball with her child on the beach. Really? I mean, they live in the same household. They're, you know, why shouldn't they be allowed to? The problem was that once you let that, what about the spike ball that all the teenagers want to play daily? A group would come down and they'd set up their 2-on-2 volleyball, and they knew they weren't allowed to play it. So what'd they do? They went down to Napeague Lane and started playing down there. And eventually we'd start driving down the beach to try to make sure everything's going well. And they'd see us and they'd be taking down their net, you know. But it was tough. And you drive up and it's like, ah, you caught us. I'm like, sorry, you know, I don't want to be that guy, but I have to be that guy. I think my one word that comes to mind when we think about the pandemic is safety. And unity. It's hard to say one without the other when it comes to lifeguarding. We had to rely and talk to each other. We had to be safe and help each other to be safe. And as hard as it was, guards being frustrated with the difficulty of being an ambassador at the beach and the people that just kind of lit them up. You don't have no right to tell me to wear a mask. You have no right to do this. It's hard when you hear that over and over. But talking to each other and working with each other and saying, hey, we're doing what we got to do. We are here working, and we are here making sure people are safe, and we are doing our job. So you got to kind of come together, you know, join, be part of it, be part of the solution, not part of the problem.